We have a video about that.
I think that they want more.
So there should be more
You
Star
still have your
Wars.
deck?
Yes. What, you want to play right now?
I'm wondering where my deck is.
I don't think I could play right now. I don't remember the rules. The
Good
point
question.
is, no, I don't think we should do any more of that. Customizable card games are so 90s.
But they're fun to do little mini reviews
No.
of.
Oh yeah, fun to do mini reviews of because it's kind of our shtick. It's a nostalgia show, right? Go ahead, next.
We got a show-related question from Zacharani.
Okay.
Will you guys do a full episode Q&A using either Google Plus or something else?
You mean like a hangout?
Yes.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
I'm not terribly familiar with Google Plus. You are more so.
I could see us doing that. I would do that. If here's the thing.
What's wrong with my mic? Your mic is broken, I want to say.
Oh, well, it's not my fault. You
need to buy another
will
mic.
not let your children go see the Star Wars prequels. Why? Because if you don't support something, it will hopefully eventually go away, right? If the demand is out there for us to do a full-blown Q&A episode of the Echo Screen Live, we do but serve the community. Can you waggle that a little more? Thanks. That's great. Good. Now turn that on. Excellent.
Fixed?
I don't think so. But whatever. Here we go.
So, you know what else, though? The Game Chasers did a really interesting... There's a new program or new website that did... where you can go and you show video and you can take questions from people. And it marks certain places in the video where you take a question.
Yes.
And then you can, answer the question
Yes.
on the video. And then people going back and click on the various questions and it takes you to that part of the video. I can't remember the name of the website.
Sounds pretty cool.
Damn it.
So the short answer
we
is...
should look into that, too.
Yeah, the short answer is if you want to see something like that, or anything else for that matter, please let your thoughts be known. Comment on the video on clanofthegraywolf.com. Send us personal messages on clanofthegraywolf.com, or you can also send us emails, Rue, and Commodore 128 at clanofthegraywolf.com. Let's see.
That's a good question.
Oh, that is a good question. When am I going to finish the interview for Video Game Auctions?
.com.
When it's not the end of the quarter.
So
very soon. Very soon. Very soon. Great questions, by the way. Fantastic questions. I'm definitely not just taking my time on them. I'm actually working on them diligently. I don't want to half-ass that. They're good questions. We're gonna.
Your stupid mic's broken.
We're gonna half cheek this one. Oh yeah. Now we're talking.
All right.
Next.
Let's see. What else?
Doesn't mean you have to keep closing those things out. I think did we already talk about this? Did we talk about this at one point?
Guilty pleasures.
Guilty pleasures of video games. So who asked this question? LED Naruto. What are your guilty pleasures regarding video games? They're not Naruto. Naruto is not one of my guilty pleasures. How about
Back to the Future for the NES?
Okay, fair enough.
Because that's not a good game, but I enjoy it.
Yep. I play a lot of... So mine probably are on
Back to the Future.
the mobile phone. I play Jewels and...
Oh.
Yeah.
I almost consider almost any of those games a guilty pleasure, except for Cut the Rope, which is just a great game in general.
Yeah, it's a great game. Miniature Golf with Eugene Levy. That's a guilty pleasure of mine.
Stroke Limit.
Thunder in Paradise. I love how our community is coming to our rescue with CDI games.
Thunder in Paradise is not a bad game.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not a good game.
Bad. It's pretty bad. It's good for what it...
It's good for the CDI.
Yeah, okay. Stroke Limit. I'll save you, Gibby. Next. Good question. Oh, man, that is crazy.
That's like a whole episode.
Let's handle the second part before we handle the first part. PSX Guy wants us to wish him happy birthday. Happy birthday, PSX Guy. And the first part of the question, what do you think services like Gamefly, or I think it means how. How do you think services like Gamefly affect the video game industry? Boy, that's how does Redbox affect the film industry? How does Netflix affect the film industry?
I think it negatively affects GameStop.
It definitely does. And you can make an argument that has some impact on video games, although I'm not sure what it is. In any case...
I don't know. Do people go to Gamefly, rent a game, play it, and if they really like it, go and buy it. I don't know. I don't use GameFly.
That probably happens, but I don't think so. I'm not a game flyer myself.
The best thing I can think of was when I was a kid, going and renting the old Nintendo games.
Mm-hmm.
If I like something a lot, I would go and buy it after the fact.
Okay.
So, I gotta think it. Well, but then again, if you have a really short game, someone could just blow through it, and then never play it again.
So I think of GameFly.
Instead of buying it.
GameFly is probably good for two purposes, right? One, it's to play the games that you wouldn't normally buy. Mm-hmm. Like, say, I'll give you an example. Bayonetta. Bayonetta is a game I would never have bought, but it would have been interesting to try. I thought it was an interesting little premise, kind of like God of War, right? So, I can download the XBLA demo, which I did, and play that and go, okay, I'm not going to play it anymore. Or I could actually just go and put it on GameFly and beat it in 10 hours and then send it back and never play it ever again, right? Mm-hmm. But then it could also be used just to stay in tune with what's going on in gaming. Because somebody like you and me, we try to stay on top of this stuff as much as we possibly can, but the sad fact and sad reality is we have other things we like to do with our lives. Like a job. I'm looking at you. Video game auctions
is your job.
That's why I haven't finished my...
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, I finished the interview. Real life jobs, right? And we have to keep up with those things.
Right.
So, it's a good way to keep up with what's going on in the industry without having to go out and spend all of that. I'm glad Andrew liked that. It's a lot easier to be able to keep up with what's going on in gaming. So I can go and grab Final Fantasy 13, play it for a little while, throw it back, and say it's not any better.
I gotta say,
which is an interesting question that was posed to me by Andrew Video Game Auctions.
This is a really weird question because there's so many facets to the question. I don't think you can overarchingly say it's good or bad for the video game industry.
I think
because you can either have, if it's a short game, like I did this with the Ghostbusters video game, which I enjoyed, but I did rent it for a few days and then I was done with it.
Yep.
But I didn't buy it.
Has Netflix been a positive or a negative for the film industry?
That's good. Well,
it's been a positive. You want to know why?
Why?
Because
indie games?
They're completely relicensing things that should have died a long time ago.
Okay.
Right? So, in other words, if I want to go put out Spies Like Us, right? The classic Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd film from the 80s. If I want to put that on DVD and make some more money off of it, how do I do it? I got to go to MGM, right? They got to go produce a DVD. They're probably going to put it on a DVD with another movie because it doesn't make economic sense otherwise. And they throw it in the bargain bin for $5 at Walmart. Right. How much money am I really going to make on that after I do all that shit? Not a lot.
2 cents.
Versus, what if I call MGM and say, hey, I want to license your back catalog for X amount of dollars. And then all of a sudden, you get a tremendous amount of traffic. People buying up subscriptions to Netflix to be able to watch some of these movies that they would never buy on DVD.
But does GameFly have a lot of streaming? I actually don't know.
GameFly has, well, that's what I'm saying. GameFly is not an analog.
Right.
Because you cannot go and play some of those older games on GameFly. I can't go get Lords of the Realm 2 for PC on GameFly.
Good Old Games?
Good Old Games is different.
Does Good Old Games have Lords of the Realm 2?
I think it does.
Totally buy that.
I think it does.
Holy crap.
It doesn't matter. They re-released it. There's like a Windows 95 version that got re-released and everything's cool.
Next question.
All right, next question.
From Hoaxium, did either of you enjoy the fighting done in the prequels as opposed to the originals?
That's a tough question.
Depends on the fighting.
This is Hoaxium trying to catch us in something here.
2 and 3, episodes 2 and 3, I did not enjoy the fighting. Not a lot.
Especially the Yoda fight. That was stupid as hell.
The Yoda fight was okay.
Ugh.
I really did not enjoy the Obi-Wan Anakin fight because it was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous.
But the first movie,
since it was real fighting, it was choreographed. I thought that was the best fight scene.
Ray Park,
yes,
as Darth Maul.
Ray Parker Jr.
Ray Parker Jr. Ghostbusters.
Eat Senate.
Wow, thanks.
Yeah, no, that was a bad fight.
No, I think it's so. Obviously, the reason that he's really asking this is because the fighting for somebody like Obi-Wan Kenobi in the first movie or Darth Vader in A New Hope is kind of just stand there and just like do this.
Long. Right.
But David Prowse is Darth Vader.
Yes.
Anyway, God. So, but anyway, I don't think there's any denying. I think the best fighting scenes in all movies put together is in the first
I agree.
prequel movie.
That was one of the few
That is
things-
not at all a reason for me to go see it in 3D, though.
No, that was one of the few good things about that movie, along with, as always, John Williams is awesome.
John Williams
And
is awesome.
Duel of the Fates is one of his better.
One of the first things I did after I saw that movie was buy the soundtrack.
Right, and it's freaking spoiled it for us. No, you bought that soundtrack before we saw the movie.
Correct, I
and
did
it
that.
spoiled it for us because one of the tracks was named "The Death of Qui-Gon,"
Right.
and we were like, "Who's Qui-Gon?"
Yeah, who's
And then we
Qui-Gon
watched
who?
the movie, and we're like, "Oh, this guy, he's gonna die."
Or
at
we
end.
had the
Great.
Star Wars trivia game, which came with a bonus for the new prequels coming out, and it hadn't even come out yet, so we had trivia from that, and we were like, I don't even know who that is. Anyway, keep going. Next.
Jareth wants to know: did you at least like the end fight scene in Episode 1?
I think we covered that.
And then he said, "Damn it, stop answering my questions before reading them."
Good. Well, we covered that one.
Cool.
There's that part where Obi-Wan is just bouncing, getting ready to freaking kill.
That was good.
That was just
Whoa, got a lot of questions.
That was just fantastic. Okay, what do we got?
Here's a good one.
Yep.
From an anonymous Ustreamer. Bringing back Star Wars. If
We
you were,
like anonymous folks. That's
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
If you were showing someone who had never seen them before, would you
Yes.
show them in order of story or order of release, 1 through 6, or 4 through 6, and then 1 through 3?
I tackled this question recently with a coworker of mine who is also a parent. And my thought on this is that it should always be seen in order of release and not chronological order, if that makes sense. So in other words, I would watch the prequel trilogy second if I watch them at all. 4, 5, and 6 should be the order in which you watch them.
Right.
There should never be a godfathering of this. Do you remember what they did with The Godfather many years back, where they rearranged all the movies
Yeah,
to
my
be in
dad had
sequential
that.
order? I think that really ruins the
It's
experience.
interesting
It is
to do
interesting.
that, but
Maybe that's like one of those things that they always promised would be alternates on like a DVD, and now with streaming or whatever, where you could just say, I want to watch everything in chronological order now.
yeah, because that end scene in Empire Strikes Back where you find out Vader's Luke's father is supposed to have a lot of gravitas, and if you watch the first 3 movies, you're like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But then again, it's
That's
really
true.
that's like the ultimate spoiler that's already been spoiled.
Yeah, it's just
It's
stupid.
like I don't know how.
That's why you can't make prequels that do that kind of stuff. It's just that's why it's so freaking hokey and bad.
No, but I mean,
watch
like,
the red letter media.
just in general, in pop culture has spoiled that. There's no way around it.
Yeah,
And Snape killed Dumbledore.
Snape killed Dumbledore.
Whoop, spoiler.
Just remember that.
Oh goodness.
Wow, a lot of questions. Man, there are a lot of questions. Well, we got some time. Let's answer
I
some
like
more
this
questions.
one.
Here
I
we go.
like
Good.
Do you personally think riff tracks for the prequel movies help make them bearable, even enjoyable, or is the pain too much for even them to save? So
This you could really ask this question about almost any movie that MST3K ever
Twilight.
did.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar, riff tracks is done by the
Mike Nelson,
3 of the guys who did Mystery Science Theater 3000. What they do
Bill
is...
Corbett,
And Kevin Murphy.
Kevin Murphy. Kevin
And-
Murphy is awesome,
Yeah.
by the way. He is so cool.
And if you haven't, you got to go. It's only like a couple bucks for each riff track. It is totally worth it to go and
Invest.
buy them.
Yep.
It's like you download the MP3 and you watch the movie with it. Actually, did you see that Red Letter Media did one as well?
No.
For Empires. For
Okay.
for Episode 1.
That must happen.
They released it just the other day.
I must have that.
Regardless, so I've listened actually to them doing the Twilight and the Episode 1, and they're just so good. It
Yeah.
makes it hilarious.
First of all, if you ever watched MST3K, it's like
Yeah.
it's just such a great
Look
piece
at
of
that.
nostalgia.
I mean,
in
if
that.
you ever watch the movies that they watch in MST3K by themselves, they really do suck. It's really hard to
they're
watch.
awful. They're terrible movies.
But
I
it's-
feel for them for having to watch them so many times to get the script down.
Yeah, but riff tracks makes anything hilarious, pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't ruin it. The movies aren't, and as I have said, the prequel movies are mediocre. They're not horrible films. It's not sci-fi movie epic bad, right? It just happens to be not that great. Okay, go
That
ahead.
question
Next.
was from Mega NE67, and actually
Okay.
this is another good one.
Okay.
An interesting question from him as well. Do you think Lucas resents his fans at this point, since he's quoted as saying he's sick of all the hate? And if so, do you think that these latest edits to his Blu-ray, which we didn't even touch on,
I know.
are a big FU to the fans? I do think they're a big FU to the fans.
You think so?
I do. I think he is a control freak. And I say this because I know him so well.
Yeah.
But no,
he's saying this because he is a licensed psychiatrist,
this is me talking off out of my ass.
right?
No.
Which would be a good podcast
he
too.
definitely Ace Ventura podcast. he definitely seems to